Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome to a new series, Over-the-Counter Safety for Dummies, or Substance Safety for Dummies, which, no offense by any means, the title is inspired by the For Dummies book series, which if you haven't read those, I do highly recommend them. But in this series, we're going to break down all the basics you should know when it comes to over-the-counters, and then slowly dive into other topics as the series progresses. And to start things off, we're starting off with one of the most basic things that everyone should know how to do, whether you're a drug user or not, and that's how to read a label. Most of us will use an over-the-counter at some point in our lives, and you don't want to misstep that. You don't want to take too much or take it wrong and have some problems, or take too little and not get what you need. Then of course other things like dangerous drug interactions, conditions afflicted, and much more are of importance, all of which you can find on a label. There is a bit of math involved at times, and also just understanding the basic terminology and what it all means. We'll cover all the essentials here. And before we actually start, I have to give a big shout out and pay homage to Paul the Alien, one of my close friends who passed away by an overdose of Benadryl in 2023. I brought it up in a short before, but haven't talked about Paul too much since. It's not the easiest thing to talk about, as things were pretty dark around that time. But ever since he hit me up, he's always had problems with his usage. One of the biggest things he wanted to do though was help people out and give out a sort of safety guide for this all. Really, so people can learn what the hell can happen and how it's not something to toy around with. And just to be safe. Which, there's a ton of factors to consider here with this, how people get influenced and addicted, what they are essentially and what they do, the various amounts of types of over-the-counters, how to safely identify them, and much more. But really with this series, we'll be highlighting the reasons as to really just avoid the abuse of it, as this is safety focused. Paul told me when he was younger, he didn't have a good grasp on this stuff and what he was getting into, that you just hear a few things and that can be that. One of the most common reasons would be that someone just never tripped before and they wanted to know what it would be like to hallucinate. This mindset and many other ideas will be explored, but we gotta start with the basics, and that's how to read a label. Again, this doesn't just apply to the recreational side of things. There's been a countless number of overdoses involving Tylenol, acetaminophen, which many people don't really know about, and can simply be avoided by reading the label. All over-the-counters are medicines at the end of the day, and medicines are highly dose dependent and time-based, for efficiency's sake and to avoid dangers. They put the label there for your safety, and so you take it right, unless of course your doctor tells you otherwise. But let me know what you guys think of this series and what you want to see next. But without further ado, like Paul wanted, let's go over how to read an over-the-counter label.
What's up, motherfuckers? I'm back.
Alright, what's up, motherfuckers? We're back.
What's up, motherfuckers? Yep, I'm back again, man. I'm on a fucking roll.
Alright, what's up, motherfuckers? Finally back. And look what I found.
Active ingredient. Okay, pretty straightforward, but here's your starting point. This is the active drug that's used in the over-the-counter. Many people see the brand name and think that's what the drug is called. But no, Benadryl isn't Benadryl, it's diphenhydramine. Robitussin isn't Robitussin, it's dextromethorphan. Tylenol isn't Tylenol, it's acetaminophen. And with this, they give the active recommended dose per serving, and this depends on the over-the-counter. Sometimes it's by pill, sometimes it's by cup, sometimes a spray, or otherwise stated. Purpose. Okay, to the right, in the same box, you have the purpose. This is just a quick code that tells you what it's used for. Sometimes it's easy to make out, like pain reliever, cough suppressant. Other times it can be more scientific, like antihistamine, which can have a multi-purpose effect. If you don't understand what it is, that's okay, because the next part gives more clarification. Uses. Okay, so literally, this is a more detailed direct breakdown of the purpose. Basically, the symptoms and effects that the medicine treats. It can vary sometimes, but the most important effects are listed first. If you do have one of the listed symptoms, it may be helpful, but you still have to make sure it's safe. Warnings. Which brings us to the warning section, which is very crucial. It highlights pretty much who should not take the medication and who should seek professional help before attempting to use it. The biggest one will have their own section, for example, an allergy warning. It also highlights how not to take the medicine, whether that be taking too much, taking it with something else, or otherwise stated. Things like liver problems, serotonin syndrome, and more can come up. There is also typically a breastfeeding and pregnancy statement, which oftentimes does suggest you do consult a professional, as these tend to be very sensitive for the child. And there's also a keep out of reach from children warning. Obviously, we don't want kids getting a hold of this, thinking it's candy or something. Accidents do happen though, at all ages, so there is also an overdose warning too. Most times, it does suggest call poison control, which if it isn't listed, the number is 1-800-222-1222 for anyone who needs it. Directions. Okay, so if you check out on the warnings, this is the recommended directions on how to take an over-the-counter medicine. This is where you'll find the dosing and how often to take it. So many doses will be recommended in so many hours, and should only last so many days as needed. There will be age guidelines as well, as children, teens, and adults may need different amounts. These are the guidelines to follow unless otherwise stated by a doctor. Other information. This typically gives instructions on how to store it, most times at room temperature in a dry place. It may also advise against using if the packaging was tampered with or left open, depending on the type. It may also advise the use by the expiration date, typically found on the bottle or box somewhere. Inactive ingredients. So these are the ingredients considered not to have any impact on you, though this is still important as it still can in some people. They're used to put the medicine together and hold it. Depending on what it is, it can vary significantly. It's the ingredients that make something a syrup, or something a pill, or a nose spray, an ointment, or so on. It's also what they use for color and also for taste. Some people like grape cold medicine, and some people want cherry. And this list also includes any preservatives, so the medicine can remain safe and effective and not go bad quickly. And either way, depending on what it is, most medicines degrade rather than completely spoil. But some people may still have allergies to this stuff, like Red 40 for example, so you still should be mindful of this. Questions or comments? And this is as straightforward as it seems. Sometimes all the information we need may not be there. Sometimes the label might be confusing. Maybe you have a specific condition or history. Maybe you're wondering about certain drug or food interactions, or maybe some quality concerns with the medicine. Whatever it is, oftentimes there will be a number or a website you can go to for your questions. Depending on what it is, it may be recommended for your doctor to answer, but still, it's a good next step if the label doesn't give you all the information you need. Okay, so to wrap this up, this is really a universal base I feel like just everyone should know. Shouts out to Cycrubus, one of the good homies. Paul, him and I were in the talks of making this series happen, so best expect Cycrubus to be present in this series at some point. This was in honor of Paul, as it was originally his idea. I wanted him to get the series going on his channel, but bro was going through so much, doing so many substances at crazy high doses from a young age. And then him trying to deal with things and still trying to get his life going, he went through a lot. Paul was someone who didn't need that burden in his life, as he had so much potential to be something great. But at the same time, Paul himself was beyond great already. His personality, the good vibes he would set in, how he could be funny as hell, it was super likable, and he was someone you could just genuinely appreciate. So with that, thank you Paul for being alive and for existing in this world. It's an honor and a blessing to have been your friend here, and I can only hope on the next plane we cross paths again, having the good times happen like the ones we've had here. Which I can only assume he's a Dextroverse guy right now, surfing the waves of the Dextroverse, or causing waves himself for all the Dextronauts out there. But I just wanted to say a few things for bro before ending off. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for him. You can still check out the videos Paul made on his channel, Paul the Alien, which I'll have linked down below, and probably will for all the series. Paul wanted this for a while, the guide on how to read labels, and I started this series. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.
Alright, what's up, motherfuckers? We're back. Alright, what's up, motherfuckers? We're back, finally.